slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're with my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. Better see with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, guys, we're here. We're live. It's a Friday night, and you're watching Buster Unmasked. And look, guys, you know the routine. Before I forget, like this video, share this video, go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube, and subscribe. All right, guys, you just seen it. September 21st, Jackson, Tennessee. A night to remember. Hall of Fame ceremony. Tribute to Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee and a meet and greet, all at the Picture Perfect Arena in Jackson, Tennessee, starting at 3:30 p.m. You need to come check it out. It's going to be a lot of people there. The who's who of classic Memphis wrestling, the who's who of KAW, and the who's who of Power Pro, and there's no telling else. Who else might show up there? So you need to be there, and you need to get your tickets now. Guys, got a great show for you tonight, man. My guest tonight is the owner and founder and promoter of Committed to Wrestling. He's none other than Marco Rose. Marco.
Hey, what's going on, Buster? Thank you.
Dude, I appreciate you for coming on, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Dude, we're here, and you know what we're here for, man. We're here to learn about Committed to Wrestling. But before we get to learn about Committed to Wrestling, I feel like we need to know a little bit about Marco Rose, man. Won't you take us in? Matter of fact, let's just start out, Marco. How old are you, dude?
Where is it? I'm 35. Let's go.
Dude, hey, I'm 50, so don't sweat it, man. Don't sweat it, man. I wish I was 35, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Were you born and raised in Memphis?
Yeah, born and raised in Memphis. I grew up in a neighborhood called Douglas all my life.
Born and raised in Memphis, grew up in Douglas. Talk to me about how you, well, let's even go back before you, how you got in the wrestling business. Did you grow up loving wrestling? How did you first kind of discover wrestling, man? Obviously in Memphis, Saturday morning, I'm sure.
Actually, it wasn't, when I was younger, my uncle Mose, he used to have all these, he used to collect VHS tapes, and he had like NWA, WCW, WWF stuff, and me and my cousin used to pop in the VHS tapes, and I think my earliest of seeing that I can recall is either two. It's two that I recall. Was Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania. Right. I recall seeing that. That was one of the first ones. It was like, and I think it was also it was one of the Clash of the Champions when Sting went against Flair.
First Clash of the Champions.
That was the first one. Okay, yeah. And I seen that through VHS. That was like instant. I was just like hooked. That was like,
dude, VHS. Man, look, I growed up on VHS. Matter of fact, when I was real little, it was still, I want to say it was still Baymax then. You know, had the old school they were like VCRs, but they were huge, and the thing would lift out like a robot. Yeah. You'd have to put the tape in like a VCR, but it was a little different format. But dude, I was the same way. I growed up on VHS, man, and just growed up watching wrestling. So Hogan, Slaughter, and Sting, Flair, first Clash of the Champions. Yeah. Talk to me about seeing that first Clash of the Champions, Sting and Flair, that first time, man. What hooked you on that?
Oh, Sting, that's my guy. Like, people who know me, they know that's my like favorite wrestler of all time. Like, Sting, just the energy, he just would get me so pumped up and excited every time he come out. Like, I've been a little Stinger like forever. Right. Still to this day.
So, you kind of, that was your introduction. When were you actually introduced to like Memphis wrestling, Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee?
Yeah, that had to come. I started watching that. That was the era of when it was Lawler, Jarrett, Brian Christopher, and it was like PG-13. That was my favorite tag team. It was like that era. And who else? The Moondogs. I love them too. So I came up during that time when they had like the WWF Invasion. I was watching that on Saturday morning. So I was around up in that time. And I think like with Brian Christopher was like, him and Jeff Jarrett at that time was probably my favorite. I think I liked Brian Christopher because he was like kind of more entertaining than me.
Right.
And
yeah, Brian. Go ahead, Marco. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just remember one time he had all the belts. I think he had all the belts except for the Southern Heavyweight, but he used to come out of all the belts. He had the belts on his arm, the belt, and I was like, man, he must be good.
the little rag, we see it all the time now, but Brian's the first guy I ever see bring the little red wagon out with all the belts in them. In the little wagon, pulled it out on TV, and now you see it. I've seen it on AEW. I've seen it on several other companies. Guys pull wagons out with all their belts and stuff in them. Yeah, man. Brian was one of the best heels, especially when he first started out.
Oh,
Man, he was entertaining, man. He was a little different than what we were used to.
yeah.
New school. Jeff Jarrett's a little bit before Brian, but Brian kind of brought a new flavor. And PG-13, one of my favorite tag teams too, dude.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. They were our generation, my generation's. I don't know. I grew up on the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, but
Yeah.
they were the 90s generation of those type of teams for us around here. PG-13 was the shit, man.
Oh yeah, when they were busting folks with hubcaps, I was loving it.
Let me ask you this: how the hell did they make everybody believe and get behind two white boys that's supposed to be from the hood, man? Talk to me about that for a second. I believe if you can do that, you can do anything in wrestling, man.
Well, I was young. I was just a kid. I just looked at it as hip hop. I was like, I just looked at it as entertaining. It's just like they was cool. So
Right.
it's like anything in hip hop at the time. It wasn't no color to me. It wasn't no color. It was just like, oh man, that's so cool. So they did the cool gimmick thing. So it was cool.
So they kind of transcended across. I'm the same way. They were cool, and that's what made them. I think that's what got them over with all of us and everybody, because they were different. We were used to a certain kind of tag team, especially from around here, and then boom, PG-13 come along, and long before John Cena was the white rap guy, PG-13 really was the first ones to kind of pioneer that, I think.
Yeah, they did. That was like, like I'm a wrestling fanatic. I think that was before Public Enemy started doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think they was really the first in coming out to the Hot Stepper song.
Right.
And their names were so awesome. JC Ice and Wolfie D. So you can't.
Yeah, two dudes, they got tons of charisma.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of talent. They could really go in the ring too. Obviously Dundee growed up in the business, but Wolfie, he came in a little later, a little different, but both naturals, I think, man,
Oh yeah, but going into Channel 5, like I said, and this just I do want to say I do have a Brian Christopher story actually. Like probably two. I met Brian actually 3 times in my life. That's funny. Before he passed. The first time I was with Brian because I was working at Mapco, the Express gas station, and we were closed on the inside because it stayed getting robbed or whatever. It was one out there on Sycamore View, so we had to go through the window. So he came through the window. He's like, "Hey man, let me get some a couple of beers and something like that." So I looked at him. I said, "You Brian Christopher?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He has a chick with him. He's like, "Yeah, man. I told you I'm famous. Tell him who I am." I said, "That's Brian Christopher." He's like, "Yeah, man." He was like, as for bro, like, man, I'm gonna let you in. We weren't supposed to let nobody in, but I'm like, it's Brian Christopher. I unlocked it, let him in. Get what you want. But he was really cool, man. He came in. I think I asked him. Oh, I had asked him about Jamie Dundee, because that was during the time. I don't know if you ever seen Jamie Dundee's YouTube shoot he did.
Dude, I think everybody that ever been in the wrestling business or watched the wrestling business seen it, man.
Oh yeah, so he was talking about the story with Miss Texas, and that was just on my mind. And so I was like, I wonder if that's true. So I asked Brian. I was like, "Hey Brian, did you watch the Jamie Dundee shoot?" And he was just like, I was like, "Was it true what he said about Miss Texas?" He was like, "Yeah, man, it's definitely true, man." He was like, "I got a story about Miss Texas." I was like,
"Oh shit."
I was like, "Oh, do tell, Brian." He was like, "Man, it was one night, man, me and her had got a room. We was about to get it on and things. Man, we had been drinking." He was like, so he pulled it down, man, pulled down the pants, man. She had a big bush, man."
Old school, man.
He said, "Man, you got," he said, "Man, you got some shade. You need to shade those things. Shade that thing." So she went in the bathroom. He said she shaded. He came back out. She came back out. He said, "Man, he went to sleep on her ass, and so she was trying to wake him up. He's like, he didn't even want to do nothing no more. He went to sleep. So that was this.
He should have manned up, man, and just waded on through there. You got to part that right in the middle, man. Work your way back. There you go, man. You got to part that and work your way down, man. That's old school right there, dude. Well, look, man, let's get back to you so we can get you committed to wrestling. How did you actually get into the wrestling business, man?
So that was fun. I had got in it through a wrestler here in Memphis. His name is Reno Diamond. And he was a friend of one of my best friends named Robert. And so Robert knew I had been wanting to get into the business, but I didn't know how.
Right.
And I didn't know if I wanted to be a wrestler. I didn't know what I actually want to be. I just knew I wanted to be in the business. And I told him I wanted to do commentating because I was like, I feel like I can be a commentator. So he hit up with me, Reno Diamond. He hit me up. Me and Reno Diamonds chatted it up. Real cool guy. Really underrated wrestler here in Memphis.
No, he's talented. Now, I don't know Reno personally. I've actually never met him, but I know who he is. I'm familiar with his work. Talented guy.
Oh, yes, most definitely. And so, we linked up, and he got me with, it was an organization here, not here, it's in Mississippi called Extreme Outlaw Wrestling, I believe, XOW.
XOW, yes. I know what it is.
I think that was Tony Watts. I think that's his name.
I think so.
Yeah, he was over it. So they gave me my first commentating gig. And so
I got to admit, you look like a commentator. You got to commentate and look, man. You do.
Oh yeah, I definitely had it then. Like I was bigger back then than I am now. I was bigger, so I was like, yeah, that might be set right for me. I was like Jim Ross, 1999 big.
Damn.
So
you come a long way since then, man. I'm still Jim Ross 1999 big, man. So
so they gave me my opportunity after that. That was actually what's fun about that. I met Marco Stunt there. That was before he was just wanting to train to become a wrestler. So they had to be like 2000. That was like 2014. He was probably still in high school. Right. But I remember just talking to him, and he was like, man, I'm gonna train to be a wrestler. Like he had a little haircut. He looked like a little short Justin Bieber. He had a little Justin Bieber haircut. And so I remember looking at him then. I was like, man, you ain't nothing but 4'11". How this gonna work? But it was just funny meeting him during that time. Just like one of those stories. But he was really cool, really great guy. But but that was my first start. And then after that, he got me with the Soul Taker. Reno Diamond had hooked me up with the Soul Taker. And then that's when I started my training. I trained at RSWF Academy at the time under Soul Taker, and a whole lot of different wrestlers was training me. And that was my start in the business after that. Then I started eventually doing commentating for RSWF. Started with, breaking down the rings and training and refereeing.
Right.
Commentating. And so, yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. How did you like commentating?
I loved it. They had me as a color commentator.
That's my favorite, man.
Yeah, so they wanted me to do the heel stuff. So automatically in my mind, I'm thinking Bobby Heenan and Jerry Lawler, and I just fused them two together. And so I remember my first day there, it was DJ Brown. He was DJ Brown. I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Brown.
Dude, I know DJ. Look.
All right.
Me and his daddy Danny's from Brownsville, but he come from Helena too. He lived in Helena, Arkansas for a while. When we were both first breaking in, we used to train together some. Obviously, me and Danny's had feuds at KAW. Look, Danny been bringing DJ to shows since he was a little bitty fella, in bars and places DJ shouldn't even be getting in. He's hid over in the corner somewhere watching the show, man.
Yeah.
Love Danny, and I'm starting to get familiar with DJ personally, in person, and I like DJ too. DJ's another guy out there. DJ is super talented, and he's got a lot of drive and hunger.
Oh, yeah. DJ is a real good friend. I was a fan of his dad. I was a fan I forget what promotion. I was a fan of that feud that Danny Brown had with Brickhouse Brown back in the day.
KAW, probably.
KAW, yeah, that was so good. I just remember that was one of the ones that stood out to me. I loved that feud.
Yeah,
But,
Danny B always stands out. He's always stood out since day one.
yeah.
Got charisma, real charisma. Danny B's the only dude I ever seen in my life that could dance his way from the dressing room, around the ring, up the stairs, into the ring, and never miss a beat, not one time. Be on rhythm the whole time, man. Danny B's got charisma that just overflows when he's out there.
Definitely. But getting back to the story, that was the first night the first day I commentated. It was DJ Brown, he was wrestling. So he used to come out to this song by Lil Wayne called Stunned Like My Daddy. So on commentary, I was just like, yeah, he may be stunned like his daddy, but he a loser just like his daddy too. And so, and the crowd just went, ooh, because we on live mic. And from that instance, like, the crowd just hated me from that day. Like,
yeah, you don't want to be disparaging Danny B's name anywhere around Memphis or really around our Mid-South area, man. Especially at that time, Danny B's perennial baby face everywhere, man. Perennial baby face, man.
Oh yeah. So, but that was the start, and that was the start of my heel. And my whole time at RSWF, I'm talking about the crowd hating me like every night. Like I would just be commentating, and it's just instant Marco Sucks chants for like years, and that was the start. But it was good fun. I loved it.
Well, let me ask you this: did you actually do any wrestling or managing either one?
I did wrestle. I wrestled a couple of times. DJ Brown was actually in my first match. I wrestled DJ Brown because of that incident, and we had a little sparked a little rivalry, and then. I wrestled Soul Taker twice because I had a whole lot of heat, and it just built up with me and him, and like the crowd lit up when me and him got in the ring together. We actually got some "This is awesome" chants. I was like, wow,
really?
That's how much heat was going on just for him just kicking my ass the whole match, pretty much. But folks to chant "This is awesome," they're like, that's wrestling right there.
Here's the thing, wrestling without heat, there is no wrestling. You got to have heat to have pro wrestling, or there's nothing there. Right. And so that's what it's really all about, man. You making them, if you're the heel, hate you enough to want to see whoever kicked the shit out of you and chant "This is awesome" while they're doing it, man.
And like, I did not do 1 450 flip.
Man.
And all I know is the basics. I suck as a wrestler, so.
Well, I was fixing to ask you. You said, 3 matches. I was going to ask you. So did you figure out maybe being in the ring wasn't for you?
I just never seen myself in there. I mean, I could have if I wanted to, but I just never seen myself in that position because, like, I was like at the time, I'm like 5'8", chubby. Like, I just never pictured myself being a wrestler. I mean, I just never seen it. And so,
well, obviously, fate had a little different path for you to take in the wrestling business. You started out as a commentator, wrestled a few times. I'm assuming you did more commentating.
Mm-hmm.
And then what led you to decide, hey, I want to start my own company?
Well, that was the reason I wanted to start my own organization. This was like when I was in high school, and that was when had to been like 2004, 2005. But I have seen the rise and fall of ECW, and Paul Heyman, like his whole story when he was talking in that, like his whole inspiration that wanted to do that. He was basically saying the same thing I was saying when I was in high school. He was like, he knew he wanted to be in a wrestling business, but he didn't know exactly doing what.
Right.
Like, and I was the same way. Like, it's like, because he knew he didn't want to be a wrestler. But I seen how he started it, and like he started from a freaking gymnasium. That's crazy. Like, nobody don't ever talk about that. To start a wrestling promotion in a gymnasium to go into national TV.
Dude, most wrestlers Hulk Hogan, all these guys, Ric Flair, all these guys started in gymnasiums and armories
Right.
around the country. Now, I'm like you, it kind of, once they're big stars, nobody remembers that. But all these superstars all kind of started the exact same way, you know?
Right. And then he started with, like, he had a lot of no-name talent. He made them into stars. Like, people who would have never got into, like, WCW or WWF during their time. They would have never made it, you
Right.
know, without ECW around. Like I think ECW, honestly, like, they're responsible for everything how wrestling is now.
Oh, yeah, they definitely changed the, really, they probably had the biggest impact on wrestling in the last 30 years. I mean, if you really want to know the truth, they probably had the biggest impact. You still hear the ECW chants to this day, no matter what company it is. It transcends past every company. Look, Marco, we got Chris Evans with us. He said, speaking of heat, speak on the BS. You and CTW, you and the CTW committee against the boss, against him, the boss. What's going on here with Chris Evans, man? What's going on with CTW and Chris Evans?
Well, Chris Evans has a situation going on where with him and Dorian Vane, who was the committed wrestling champion, and I signed Chris Evans, like, definitely like a big coup for CTW to possibly become champion one day. But he came in with a bang. He came in and attacked our champion at the Destiny show, and then come again. He did have a number one contenders match, but his actions, I just felt that was kind of uncalled for. I really kind of had stripped him of that number one contendership, and so, you know, because we tried not to run like that up in committed to wrestling, but what he did was egregious to the champion, and it's just something that had to be done. So, but he did get in a tag team match, and with him at Wrestle Rave, I did give him an opportunity to for them to lock up at Wrestle Rave. They was in a tag match, and he did it again. And now, right now, I'm dealing with Dorian, and Dorian wants to get his hands on Chris Evans bad as hell right now. And Dorian's been hitting me up, telling me he wants the match. He wants the match because Chris Evans steady calling him out, saying that we robbed him and it's a whole conspiracy. But we're just gonna have to see what happens. I'm talking with James, the co-owner. I'm talking with Memphis Mike, who's the commissioner, and we go really make a decision on it. Come no fear.
Well, look, before we get to Chris's comments, because there's a few of them, Joseph Earl's with us. He says, hello, Buster and Marco Rose. What's up, Joseph? I'm glad you're watching, man. I appreciate it. Look, Chris Evans come right back, and he says, correction, I'm the current holder of the CTW Heavyweight Championship. Then he comes back, and he said, there is no ambition of being it when I'm currently the belt holder. I guess he's talking Dorian Vane.
Yeah, so at Wrestle Rave, after their match, they was in a tag team match with Dorian and Draven going against Brian Valor and Chris Evans. And so Draven had left his chain, I think, in the ring, and Chris Evans used that chain to really choke out Dorian Vane in front of his sister and boyfriend at the show. So after he did that, he seen the belt, got his belt, and took off with Dorian Vane's championship.
Man, look.
He is not the champion, but he does have he is holding the CTW championship, and we really gonna have to get that back from him ASAP because he is not the committed to wrestling heavyweight champion.
Look, man, from his comment here, it says, so if anything, old golden boy Dorian needs to work his way back up to the belt. Dorian, now look, let me ask you something. That's one thing. And then after we answer these few questions, we're going to jump back to Paul Heyman and him kind of being the catalyst, the spark for you to decide to go on and that you wanted to start your company. But Chris comes back and he says, talk and converse with whoever you want. Ain't nothing going to change. I'm going to keep hurting your boy Dorian until you admit what y'all did. And then Rod comes and he says, talking about talking about belts. Roger, I know Roger's got a lot of belts, got a lot of pro wrestling belts. Sometimes he puts some on out for sale. Got a lot of nice, cool belts, old school belts, new school belts, man. Yeah. So
I'm going to talk about just real quick with Chris Evans. I think I'm going to do this now because this is what I do. I am the boss. I'm going to set this now. I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to give Dorian what you want. I'm going to give Chris Evans what he wants. So October 18th, we got No Fear, perfect name, and you're going to get your shot to become that Committed to Wrestling heavyweight champion that you're holding, that you done stole from the real champion Dorian Bain. October 18th, I'm going to set that match. We're going to get the paperwork started, and there's going to be your main event for No Fear, October 18th. You got it, Chris Evans. You wanted it. You got it.
Right there, breaking news.
Yep.
There you go. October 18th, No Fear. Dorian and Chris for the title. Is that what you said?
Yep, for the championship. Yep.
Okay. Well, look, Roger's on here. He's got a couple of comments. Got the one. We're going to leave it up just a second. Let's go back right quick and back to Paul Heyman. He's kind of the catalyst, you watch the rise and fall of ECW, and that kind of really spurns your interest in starting your own company. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about actually going from it being an idea to making it come to fruition.
Yeah, so back at that time, so I seen it. I was like, yeah, so I'm going to start my wrestling promotion. So I get on the computer, looking up, okay, how much to start a wrestling promotion? All right, so the ring costs $8,000. Then you got to get some insurance. That's such and such money. I'm like, okay. Then you got to get a building that may be goddamn something like $800 or $1,200 something. I was like, okay, I make $7.25 an hour right now.
Right.
Which that was minimum wage at the time. So that wasn't gonna happen. So I just went to school for billing and coding for a couple of years and got in the healthcare field. But going fast forward from that time, going back to 2014, I got back up in it. And like I said, I paid my dues, trained, and all that, doing shows for free, for nothing, for a hot dog and a soda.
Right.
And,
the wrestling business, man.
Yeah, the wrestling business.
When you think about it from the outside, you think, man, I'm gonna get rich doing this shit. And then when you get in it, you realize, oh hell no. If you're lucky, you might get rich, but you're gonna have to be. That's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, but see, I look at it like that. I mean, I know a lot. I didn't think so because I mean, like as far as with money is concerned, like I look at it like this, like I have a job to make money. So this is something I love doing. Like this to be the only thing in the world that I will do for free for like nothing. And if I made money for doing this, I'd be like, you gonna give me money to do this? Like,
don't tell people that. Not in the wrestling business. Don't tell people you'll work for free, man. That's the worst thing you could possibly do.
I'm just that person. I just love it so much because it don't seem like work to me. Like I did a lot of editing, do editing. James do editing. Like we do this literally every day, and I stay studying. I be studying, promoting from Jim Cornette to Jerry to Paul Heyman, even Eric Bischoff. Just a whole lot. I listen to those podcasts like every day, and I'm always learning something, like Dutch Mantel and stuff like that. I'm always learning, picking up things.
Yeah, if you're willing to listen to these guys, and man, look, here's the thing: they're full of knowledge that is slowly dying off. If they aren't able to pass it on to other guys, eventually it's going to disappear.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. So yeah. So like I said, 2014, I just went to Soul Taker one day, and I was just like, hey, I wanted to start my own wrestling promotion. Like, since you're not doing nothing here Friday nights, because at the time he was just running every Saturdays. So I was like, since, and he had his own building. So I was like, well, since nothing happening Fridays, how about, you let me start my own promotion. So he looked at me, he laughed, and he was like, all right. you want to start your own promotion? Like, cool. He set me up a price to pay, and we made a deal. And from that was 2016, no, 2017, early 2017, and we made
So
a
you
deal.
basically bought him out of what was RSWF.
No, I pound him out. Like, he was still doing RSWF on Saturdays, but like I said, Fridays was just the rest of the days was like nothing going on, probably except for like training, wrestling training. So Fridays was like nothing. So I was like, well, let me do Fridays once a month.
Right.
And he was cool. And then after that, June 23rd, 2017, actually, that was our first show. And we had took off from there.
Look, I want to talk to you about the name, but let's look. Roger, we left it up on about belts, and he comes back and he says, looking to add to the collection. Now, I seen Roger made a debut, re-debuted it.
Yes.
Committed to Wrestling. I hadn't got to see the show yet, but I did see the part where Roger came out and stuff. Talk to me about this, man. Talk to me about Roger coming out at being part of Committed to Wrestling. Now, it looks like he's looking to collect some more belts for that display, man.
I've been a fan of Roger, a lot of those guys, especially Roger. He's one of my favorites. Like, since he was like in IWA back in, they used to wrestle in IWA with Charlie Parks and that group. And and like, I done watched him and Motley Crue, and I thought they was an awesome tag team. I was just always amazed. I was like, man, these big guys can go. So he ain't been wrestling for a while, so I hit him up. I was like, hey, do you still got one more big splash? And, so, you got some Samoan Savage still in you? And he was like, I think I do. And so he made it happen, and man, it was magical. And, he did awesome. And I could tell he definitely loved being back, and he felt it again. So that was awesome for him to see that for him. A lot of people was happy to see him back, because he definitely deserves to end up going out the right way, in his business.
Right. And one thing me and him have almost like a 6 degrees of separation is Motley Crue. Me and Rogers never actually met in person. Looking forward to one day us ending up somewhere at the same place so we can meet. But the one thing we have in common is I tag team with Motley Crue. Roger tag team with Motley Crue. And here's the thing. I don't need to know a lot about Roger. All I need to know, if Motley Crue was willing to tag with him, got to be pretty good.
Yes.
Got to be pretty good, man.
Pretty dang good. He's like I said, he's phenomenal. He is phenomenal talent. He is phenomenal. That guy can go. He still got it. I was like, wow. Watching him live that past Friday, was like, he still got it.
He got a hell of a reaction.
Yeah,
he got a hell of a reaction out of the fans. Look, Chris is back, man. He says, all you telling me is that you want Dorian to get hurt some more. Say less.
I'm gonna tell him one thing. I don't know if you've ever seen Dorian Vane pissed off, but Dorian Vane is pissed off. I've done talked to him plenty of times. Dorian Vane has called me. He wants to get his hands on Chris Evans. Chris Evans, if I were you, I would just stop while I'm ahead right now. Really. That's what if I was you. Being smart.
Let's talk about Dorian for a second, because and I was going there a second ago, but we got kind of sidetracked. I've had Dorian on the podcast a couple times.
Yeah.
Dorian, most of the time, Dorian is pissed off all the time. He's arrogant. Dorian's vain, just like his name says. But everywhere else, he's a bad guy. But at Committed to Wrestling, the fans seem to love him. What's going on with that, man?
Yeah, the fans.
Was that by design, or did it just happen that way, dude?
Man, it was a little bit by design. I would say
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Yeah, the thing with Dorian Vane, I had never even seen him. I had never heard of him we had actually kicked off back in October last year, and so what had happened with that, he was friends with Hunter Havoc, and me and Hunter Havoc was cool, and I was missing somebody called out. I don't know what wrestler called out. Somebody called out, and Hunter called me. He was like, "Hey, I got this guy, a friend. He wants to. I can get him. He can wrestle on your show. Wants to wrestle on your show." I was like, "Yeah, bring him in because I need somebody, boom, 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 to come in, and wrestle a match." So we backstage, and everybody coming through the door, and this one guy just came through, and I seen him. I looked at him. I said, "Who the fuck is this?" And just body like a Greek god, and it was like a whole aura around. I was like, in my head, I was like,
he's a star.
He gonna be the next champion.
I mean, really, Dorian's got a hell of a presence, man. He looks like a star when you see him.
Yeah, and I was like, instantly, man, he gonna dominate here and Committed to Wrestling, and exactly how I predicted, like really. And he ended up becoming the first ever, well, not the first ever, of this new era. He became the new Committed to Wrestling heavyweight champion.
So look, before we get into Joseph's comment right here, I want to pull back just a little bit. Committed to Wrestling, the name, I love it. Your idea, brainstorm session with somebody else, how did you come up and decide you landed on Committed to Wrestling? I think you've kind of told us already that this is something you would do for free. So obviously you're committed to wrestling, but was it as simple as that?
No, it wasn't as simple as that. So it was started by me and my best friend, James Miles. One of my best friends. I got two best friends. I'm gonna make that joke. One of my best friends, James Miles.
You might have one less if you don't make sure that's real clear, man.
Yeah. So we're big wrestling fans. We started this together, but he's the co-owner with me. We both run this together, and so we said we was going to start. We said we were going to start it. We had the idea of 2016, and we was actually supposed to end up starting in 2020, but I'll go into that later. So.
Well, that's COVID time, so
COVID time, that would have been horrible.
Yeah, that's the worst time to start, man.
It would never happen. So, but no, going back, I was going to this church. I just went to this church, and they was doing something called the Big Commitment or whatever. And the preacher was just talking about this word commitment and commitment. All that was going on in my head. I wasn't even listening to the service. All going on in my head was like wrestling. What thinking of a name? Because I told James today, I was like, something gonna come to us because we was thinking of a name. So when he said he was like commitment, then I was just like, he was talking about being committed, and I was like, committed. And so I called James. I left church. I called James, like, James, I think I got a name. I was like, it has to be committed or whatever like that. Like I just know it has to be committed in there. So first thing that come in my mind was just being a traditional wrestling fan. I was like, what about Committed Championship Wrestling?
Right.
And so he was like, I don't know. He just kept saying committed. James kept saying committed. He was just like, what about Committed to Wrestling?
And there it was.
Boom.
There it was, man. I like Committed to Wrestling, man. It's different. It's unique.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hear names like that because, like you said, Committed Championship Wrestling, that's the first thing everybody goes to. Committed Wrestling Alliance, Committed Wrestling Federation, but Committed to Wrestling, I love it, man. I love that name, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so that's how I go. That's how I come up with everything. How we come up with everything. We'll speak ideas, and then it's just like, boom. It's just how I hit with everything we do.
Right. It's got to roll off the tongue, too.
Right. And I think at that time, that's where wrestling was kind of going because, there's another organization called Progress, and then Booker T was just coming out with Reality of Wrestling. So It was like, okay, we want to go in that path instead of just being all these letters, names, and all this. So we wanted to have some meaning.
Right. Oh, I dig it. Look, Joseph's back, and he wants to know when the CTW YouTube channel's coming. Upload all these full events, man.
Oh, well, we do have a YouTube channel. You just type in Committed to Wrestling, and you should see the big yellow logo that has Committed to Wrestling, and you can check out a lot of events that we have from 2007 on up to now. Right now, we're working on the event that we just did, so that's going to be in the works. Probably have that sometime later next month available.
There you go, Joseph. It's already out there, man. All you got to do is type it in.
Yeah.
Look, we got Rogers back, and he says, love Motley. Me too. Motley was the first guy after I got in the business to kind of take me in the ring and slow me down. Take me in there and kind of, because I was young, big boy, young, strong, country boy. And man, I would just, you know, you tend to want to go 90-0 when you first start. Motley was the first guy to really get me in the ring and settle me down some and kind of show me how this stuff's supposed to work, man.
I seen your intro. You was kicking ass. You was really kicking ass. I was like, okay, he was a good big man. I was like, oh, okay, he was dangerous up in that ring.
Lifetime ago, it feels like, man, a lifetime ago, dude. Look, Chris is back, and he says Dorian's a big-ass crybaby.
Wow.
He's back, and he says
Chris Evans is really pushing it.
And look, he's back, and he says all he is somebody that likes to bully and get his ego stroked by people. Like you, Marco. And when he gets bullied, he doesn't like it. Most bullies don't like being bullied, but I know Dorian likes his ego stroked because he's vain. We know that. we know that. It surprises me that the people that committed to wrestling love him like they do, because I mean, sometimes Dorian makes it hard for you to love him, but dude, they love him at Committed to Wrestling, man, and he's over. I don't know whether it's just because people are so used to seeing him as something else and he's different at Committed to Wrestling, or what it is, but it seems to be working, dude, really working.
Yeah, because when I seen him, I looked in my head, I was like, he looks like a superhero. You just look, when I looked at wrestling as a kid and I seen Sting and Hulk Hogan, I looked at those guys as superheroes. Like,
right.
It's like, wow. So when kids seen him for the first time, because, you know, we had a different audience. So when kids, because we kind of cater more to the family and the kids. And when they seen him, they was like, wow, he's so awesome. And it was this girl, she had the poster. She was like, I'm going to put this on my wall. And it was like, her eyes like, and he was there to witness it too. He was like, so I'm going to be a baby face for life. And I was like, yeah, you really.
Hey, he get a little taste of that babyface gimmick money. He'll never want to go back anywhere.
Exactly.
He'll want to be babyface everywhere he goes after that, man.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to go for, man. But the kids and the family and the ladies, of course, they love him because, hey, look at him. That's what they like.
If he's watching right now, his fucking head's steady swelling up, man. He gonna just float up in the air every time the show is over, dude. Look, Chris is back, and he says Dorian has also become first to lose their championship. Sounds like a horrible investment.
It sounds like he said he lose. Well, he got it stolen.
So let's clear that up.
Yeah.
Chris stole the belt. He didn't win it. He stole it from Dorian.
He has not yet been in a one-on-one match with Dorian where he has pinned Dorian 1, 2, 3 or made him submit. No, he took it after a match that he was disqualified for after hitting him in the balls and then choking him out with a chain.
There you
and
go,
then he
man.
took off with his belt. But you know, that's Memphis. Memphis is the home of robbers. And so
damn.
So he's from Chris Evans is from Memphis. So yeah, he's a robber himself. So he just stole something that doesn't belong to him.
So look, Joseph back, and he says, thanks, Marco, for the info. So look, since we're talking about Dorian, we're talking about Chris, we're talking about talent. Talk to us about your talent, man. Fill us in, man. Tell us who some of these guys. I know a few of them. I know Draven Lee, who he is. Obviously, yeah. Marco, Big Ace and Joker. I know those guys. I know who they are and what they're about. But you got some guys that I'm really not super familiar with, but I like, man. I really like the atmosphere and the production y'all put out, man. It's really a lot of character-driven wrestling, man. Character-driven wrestling. So talk to us about these guys.
Yeah, so one of the excuse me, one of the guys, he's like honestly the fan favorite, and he's the biggest. He's our biggest little guy. If Rey Mysterio was they biggest little guy, he's our biggest little guy, and his name is Tiptoe Jeffro. And he let me get around Jeffro Tiptoe Wilson, but we call him Tiptoe Jeffro. He's so awesome. He's great. The fans, every time he come out, you have to see that entrance. The fans just get loud and outrageous for Tiptoe. And also his tag team partner, Eddie Love. Eddie Love, he's a guy, he's from Louisiana. He is awesome as well. There's someone, a diamond in the rough, really, but they became the first ever tag team champions of Committed to Wrestling by beating Full Deck with the upset. That was like an amazing moment for them.
That's a hell of an upset too, because anywhere around Memphis, everybody knows who Full Deck is, man.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was introduced to Big Ace before I knew he even had a brother. And man, yeah. I seen Big Ace at EIW a few times. Mm-hmm. That dude is a star. He's already a star, man. I feel like he just needs the maybe a little bit of direction and the right machine behind him to kind of push him, get him out there to the fans. Big Ace is money, and Joker, I like Joker too. I'm not as familiar with him, but I do know his work. Both of these guys are uber talented in the ring, and the hook is they're brothers, real life brothers. It ain't just a wrestling gimmick. These two guys are really brothers, and so they know each other inside and out.
Oh yeah, Ace is great. Ace is great. Joker is great. Ace was actually when Joker had took time off. Ace was in RSWF. He was the champion there, and he was going by the moniker the Game Changer. And during that time, I mean, he was going against Carlito. He was going against different talent. I think he was going against Moose. Like he was going against a lot of different talent there, and he was killing it every night. And a lot of people. I think a lot of it is on YouTube, but man, during that time he was amazing. And Joker, I seen him doing his singles run at I think it was TWX, and was watching him and like he's amazing singles talent. So they were really those two remind me of the Briscoes in every way. Like you cannot teach that in any way. That was like one of my dream matches personally I wanted to see. I wanted to see the Briscoes against Full Deck. If I could have ever had a chance to make that match while Jay Briscoe was still alive, that would just been
I ain't never made that correlation, but now that you say it, I see it. I see the correlation there between the four guys, dude. I think you're on to something right there, man.
Oh yeah. So but yeah, those two are great. Then we got Rico Wiley. He has this kind of Joker, kind of evil, Dart the Clown.
Circus almost, a circus type feel about him. He's the dude that comes out with the black lights and stuff and is all lit up and everything, right? Yeah, man.
He's been showing out. He's been everywhere. Like he's been that guy. He's been grinding. He's been getting it. He's been a whole lot of promotions around the country. And like I said, this was his only place he's been here in Memphis. And I found when I seen him wrestling, and I seen his character, I was just like, yeah, bring him back. They will love him down here. And when he first debuted, kids, family, instantly. Like, and he's been rolling since then. Like he's been in newspapers here in Memphis already, highlight him. So that's really cool. I think he's gonna make it. He keep grinding. He's definitely gonna make it somewhere. You're gonna see a lot of him in the independent scene.
Yeah, I see him all over social media all the time. At all, like you said, all over the place. All kinds of different companies,
right?
All over the place, dude. The one thing I noticed about Committed to Wrestling, like you said earlier, really heavy character-driven pro wrestling,
right?
And y'all don't rush the intros and stuff. These guys get their intros. Y'all make productions out of the whole thing. These guys get the guys who's got real good intros and elaborate intros. Y'all do them. I love y'all got the screen up so you see these guys. When you put them up there, you can see their name and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really, here's the thing. honestly, y'all are a small promotion, but man, y'all are doing it in a big way. It's hard. Trust
Yeah.
me, it's hard for small promotions to. It's easier now with social media and just the way you can edit stuff now. It's much easier for you to learn how to edit and edit your own stuff. But still, yeah,
Mhm.
you still got to have the vision to go out there and put all this together, put this package together so it's entertaining to people and it draws the people in. It's interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty much. I mean, like each organization is really just someone's vision, and like you said, you made a good point. You have to have a vision for it, and it's just really, you know, taking stuff from what I seen growing up and stuff that I enjoy, stuff that I enjoyed, and then stuff that I see other fans enjoy, and just put all that together and put it into our organization. And like a lot of this stuff is important, like entertainment, the entertainment aspect of it, the production and all that, like making it feel like a whole spectacle. That's what I
Right.
loved about WWE. It's just not a wrestling show; it's a whole spectacle. It's an experience. So that's what I wanted to bring here to Memphis, because I feel like that would be the only thing to make us stand out. Because I see everybody's vision is for Memphis wrestling is like how Channel 5 was.
Right.
And so I bring in a little bit of that too, like with the dark, making it dark around, and kind of like the spotlight just in the ring mostly, stuff like that. So I try to bring like that kind of feel to it, still kind of make it look, grimy, like how it was in the Mid-South Coliseum.
Right.
And stuff like that. So try to bring different aspects. It's a lot that goes into it. Like it's like every little detail we try to look at, but it's a lot going into committed to wrestling. So that's which is why we have to run every other month and not like every week, or we can't even run every month. I don't think we would have the manpower to even do that anyway.
Well, people don't realize it takes a lot. People see you put on a show and they think, well, it's just a wrestling show. You got a ring in a building, a sound system. You can put on a show, but if you want it to be successful and you want to try to put out a product that going to attract people, there's a lot to go on, and wrestling in general can be a headache. You never quit thinking about it. If you're involved in it, it's your company, your show. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're always thinking in wrestling terms and thinking about different things you can do or try, and it just consumes your life, man. And it definitely consumes all your mental. It just does. And then dealing with wrestlers. I mean, look, sometimes, right, wrestlers can be the biggest fucking headache there is to deal with at putting on a wrestling show, man. That's just the honest truth.
Yeah, but I got a crew now. I've been rocking with this crew literally for years. I've been knowing a lot of these guys, done dealt with the personalities, and a lot of the guys I done brought in. Everybody knows each other more. Like I think a lot of the guys I got now, we got a good locker room. A lot of guys who probably were headaches, they done matured now. From back then, they done learned a lot now. And then it's a more of a respect thing. A lot of them got a lot of respect for me because they know how I done came up. They know what I done did for the business. They know I done put my body in the business. I'm just not like some other promoters out here who just, run shows and never paid any kind of dues in the business. So,
right.
And then, like I said, I just being a leader. You have to be a leader. It's up on you to have all this together, because if it's not a good show, it falls up upon you.
And leader, you said it right there. That's the key word. Here's the thing about pro wrestling and wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how experienced you are.
Right.
Wrestlers need a good booker. They need a guy in the back who they not only first of all, they've got to respect you whether they like you or not.
Right.
But wrestlers need to be directed. Here's the thing: I see it all the time. I see guys put shows together and then they just tell their guys, y'all go do what you want because these guys are veteran. No, do what I got a vision here. We got stories we're telling. We got a package. We got a puzzle. We got a picture we're trying to paint, and it ain't just one match. These matches don't have to all be intertwined with each other to paint a cohesive picture at the end of the night.
Right.
And guys, wrestlers need somebody in the back they need to know there's a boss in the back. If there's not a boss back there, they're going to do whatever they want to do. And you're going to be looking in the back thinking, well, this ain't what the fuck I wanted it to be for sure. But it's just the truth. I was the same way when I was young, dude. I mean, I was hard-headed about shit when I broke in the business at times, too. I think we all are.
Right.
You gotta, like you said, you gotta learn the business. You gotta mature too. Mm-hmm. When you're young, you're not the same. You don't think the same at 40 as you did at 20. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Your mentality's changed, but wrestling needs that, man. Wrestling needs that guy in the back. Look, Chris is back with us, and he says, "Tell him about me, Marco. Talk to us about Chris, man. Put Chris over." He says he kicks the crap out of all your top guys. Put him over, man. Talk to us about Chris, man. I mean, we have done. He has been about 2/3 of the show, but let's go on. Let's give him some more, dude. Let's put him over.
I would say this about Chris. Chris is a talented wrestler. Really digged his work in 901, and he was one of the probably the number one person I had actually wanted, and it was funny. Like he actually had hit me up. He was like, "Hey, I'm available. Do you want me?" And in my head, it's like, "Hell yeah, I want you, sure." But then you got to play it off like, I don't know. You got to play your cards. So
and then when you get him, he steals your title.
Right.
So
he's one of the young bad ones in the locker room. He got to get his head straight because but it's just like a lot of guys who get in this business, everybody's sharks. They want to be the number one guy. They want to come from that big gold building. That's what we got. We got the big gold building. The most prestigious championship that we're trying to make in the city is the Committed to Wrestling Championship.
Should be, man. That should be your goal. Speaking of goals with Committed to Wrestling, where do you want to see Committed to Wrestling go over the next 4 or 5 years, man? What would you really like to see? Would you like to have end up on TV somewhere, or are you more looking to go into streaming? You're on YouTube, but streaming channels are big now, man. Everybody's giving them a shot, dude. What's your goals for Committed to Wrestling over the next 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, our top goal is to get where we can't get Netflix now. If we can get any one of them, some good streaming deal that can get people like maybe Hulu or something, we can get there one day. But right now, as far as the next 4 or 5 years, we just want to grow our product. We just want to grow with the local fans. And then we want to grow our social media. That's been our focus really this year. Well, these past since February, since our February show, my main focus is just being to grow the audience and network with different local organizations and network with them and just really grow the audience. That's just pretty much been our goal now because we worked on a production part. We got our roster now. So then we got our roster and got them situated. Now we worked on our production. We feel like we got a good rhythm with our production. Now we got to consistently bring the audience to know what is Committed to Wrestling. So we got plans for that for the next 3-4 years for sure. So we're gonna be doing like a lot more events. We got plans to do a lot of more things and working with different organizations to help build our audience and our social media. So it's all in the works. It's just just keep watering the seed. All I say, keep watering. You gotta keep watering. And I was listening to something like what Ice Cube said. He was like, "Man, if you don't go into this trying to start a business for 5 years, knowing that you go lose money, get out the business."
Right.
Just get out. And and so I listened to a lot of it, and folks don't understand, like when you do start a business, it took somebody like Kevin Hart to say, he was like, he been in the business 30 years and he only been successful for 15. Like folks don't talk about the 15 where he was broke and he had the didn't have nowhere to live. He was sleeping in the car. He got there getting $50, maybe $25 a night to do comedy shows. They don't talk about that. Hollywood, they make it seem like it was overnight. He's just like, oh, he came out of nowhere. Nah, it's not that.
Yeah, so they never look at that, man. They never. I mean, I seen John Cena on the Shay thing.
Club Shay Shay.
Yes, I seen that. I watched that last night, and he said the same thing. He said people think it's overnight, but they don't realize the 10, 12, 15 years, whatever you put in.
I didn't watch it yet.
To get the opportunity to be famous. If you got the opportunity, you know,
right?
It takes a long time to kind of perfect who you are. Like Kevin Hart, I'm sure he's been funny probably since the day he stepped on stage.
Right.
But it took him a lot of time to evolve and perfect it and evolve into who he became and who he is now. And that's the star, but it takes all that work. Look at Chappelle. Same thing, working in clubs as a teenager. With all clubs he shouldn't even be in, kind of like DJ Brown, in the bars and stuff, doing comedy as a teenager, shouldn't even be in there.
Right.
But it took all that for him to become who he became. Right. And you mentioned something great about, here's the thing about pro wrestling. You always got to educate your audience to your product and to your talent. That is the most important part about pro wrestling. You need to educate your fans to your product, and then you need to educate your fans to your talent. Once they know those two, once they know who your talent is, and then they're familiar with the product, then it kind of will start snowballing from there most of the time, man. It's education of the fans, dude.
Yeah, speaking of a little bit more education, because I know I'm going to probably hear it, I need to let people know about some other stars that committed to wrestling. One is Brian Balor. Brian Balor, he's been wrestling around. He's been to Memphis a couple of times, but he puts me in the mind of, let's say, a combination between Rick Rude and you have Seth Rollins, and you just, he's that good,
like super baby,
and he has a valet, Mia. She's been around. I mean, she just came back into the wrestling. Her name is Mia, so that's his valet. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm talking about, you just think about young Stephanie McMahon. If you want to say, well,
I do that regular, man. I do that on the reg, man. I think about young Stephanie McMahon every time I see Stephanie now.
Yeah. So yeah, that and Antoine Wise, the Reverend Antoine Wise, another underrated talent. He is so good. He's more about traditional wrestler, but everything he does, like, he is so good. He just really gets it. He knows how to captivate an audience, and he knows how to get the most out less. And then you got Chris Lex, the King of Pow, and Tattoo, who just made their debut back, returning to Committed to Wrestling.
Veterans around here, both of them super talented, both of them veterans, been around a long time, got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, man. Asset to any company they work for, both of them.
Yes, and we got one more guy that I really enjoy. He's entertaining. His name is Mr. Smackums. He's out of Mississippi.
Dude, I love Mr. Smackums. Matter of fact, I've been thinking about hitting him up to try to get him on the podcast, man. I think when I start booking October, I think he's one of the guys. He's been on my mind for couple months now, man. I liked him when I think I was really first introduced to him when Bluff City first opened up. I think that's where I first seen him, but man, I've seen him at a bunch of other places since then, and I love Mr. Smackums. I love the attitude. I love the whole attitude about him, man. He's got charisma. And here's the thing. You can teach guys how to wrestle. You can teach guys how to have a match, but the one thing you can't teach is that charisma. They have to have it. They have to have that naturally. When you got somebody that's got that natural aura, like you said about Dorian, everything else is much easier. If they're willing to learn, everything else is easy from that point on, man. That natural charisma, you can't fake it and you can't teach it. You either have it or you don't.
Right. And then another thing we bring in at Committed to Wrestling, we have the women. The women are committed to wrestling. We got the Deity. Like she's out. Well, she's from Atlanta. She's actually born and raised in Germany. We had Tiny Tonali. She's a great independent wrestler. She's from Puerto Rico. We got Brittany K from Chicago, and also we got Ryan Hawthorne. She's from Nashville. So we're building up our women's division. It's just like it's slow cooking right now, slow burning, and we bringing it.
Y'all seem to have a little bit for everybody, something for everybody, pretty much, man. Look, Chris is back, and hey, he's putting you over here, Marco. He says, I will say this, Marco makes sure my money is in my hand, or else. Now, he did throw the or else. He gonna give you a compliment and then kind of backhand you at the end of it a little bit, man.
Or else. I don't even want to find out, or else what? I don't even want to find out.
So, Marco, we're at this point in the show.
Yes.
Now we're free. We're going to go back before we end this thing and obviously have you plug all the CTW, Committed to Wrestling's social media, your upcoming shows, your YouTube.
Right.
Now it's open. Anything you want to talk about, dude, anything. I know Memphis and Wrestling, there's a lot of companies. We want to get into that?
Yeah, we can get into that.
So you're right there in Memphis. I'm an outsider kind of looking in through social media and and the little bit I do know, but you're right in the middle of that Memphis, Tennessee thing. Talk to me about pro wrestling in Memphis and there being so many different companies and stuff.
I'm going to say about this. I'm actually happy about it being more companies. I wish a lot of the companies would come and join together, like the ones I really that I do enjoy. I think that brings a lot of positive things. Is 901 Wrestling. I really like them. I've been to a couple of their shows. I like what Memphis Wrestling does with Dustin Starr. I like what Bluff City Wrestling is doing now, because they at Lafayette.
Starting September, they'll be at Lafayette's every month.
Yeah, so they'll be
Lafayette's. I say it Lafayette's too. Lafayette's. I got to get that right. Lafayette's. I got to get that right. But yeah, they're going to start September 17th, and then every month, Tuesday nights right now.
Yeah,
so give Tuesday night a shot.
Yeah, so I like what they're doing now compared to what they was doing. I think this was a good jump and in the right direction where they needed to go with Bluff City Wrestling. So that's pretty big. I would say, those three promotions. Those three promotions that I really know that I really really proud of seeing what they're doing. Because no promotion is perfect. Everyone's trying to get better.
Right.
And it's something for everybody. Everybody has their different tastes. It's like ice cream. Like everybody has their own flavor. Right. So So I just think with those three guys, and I hopefully Committed to Wrestling can kind of be the middle ground, because I really don't have any issues with them. I think all three of those promoters have issues with each other.
That could be the understatement of the year there, man.
But I will say this, I respect those promotions, because those promotions, they do take the wrestling business serious. They do treat it with respect, and other wrestling promotions out here, they really don't. And a lot of those wrestling promotions don't get respect from me. If you out here haven't been trained and haven't paid your dues, and you out here having a wrestling promotion and trying to build a quote unquote wrestling promotion and making yourself champion and stuff like that, I don't have no respect for you, especially when that's just a disrespect to all the wrestlers who's actually trained and trying to make this craft the best possible, it can be. Make wrestling better than it can be and not make it look like crap. And so, that's how I feel.
I mean, I'm the same way. As long as, look, I need to, here's the thing. I have people hit me up all the time asking me, wanting to come on the show. But here's the thing. It's hard for me to bring people on that I can't see their work, that I can't see their product, like Committed to Wrestling. Right. I can see the product. I need to see the product. I don't need to see little highlight snid bits, because in the wrestling business, we all know that if you ain't showing nothing but the little highlight snid bits, more than likely most of the rest of it must have been pretty bad or something.
Bad. It's bad, and it's really, really bad. It's really bad. Like I done seen some bad. I done seen some bad wrestling, but yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it's just bad. Like I was just say I'm gonna tell you this: if I had started a wrestling promotion, like I've actually trained, right? If a guy who's really hasn't trained starts a wrestling promotion and makes himself the champion, that's like me making myself the champion of my own promotion.
And here's the thing, even trained guys, unless you are the guy like Lawler was, right? I mean, Lawler was the champion forever and ever, but that's because he also drew the money. Exactly. At the end of the day, if you're the guy who has to draw the money and you're good in the ring and you take this serious, I'm not opposed to you being the champion of your own company if it's successful and you draw money with it. But just to be the champion of your own company and then the company kind of just fade away, just so you can say you're the champion of a wrestling company. Well, if the wrestling company ain't making an impression and an impact out there, what are you really the champion of? Anybody can buy a belt nowadays. That's the bad thing. Anybody can buy belts, and you can be the champion of any damn thing you want nowadays.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, that's what I don't like, because like if we have more of those around, it's gonna water down wrestling. It's because no one's gonna take it seriously. You're just gonna keep ruining the product. And I didn't come into this business to make the product worse. I'm trying to make it grow. So we need to get rid of the bad, especially if they don't want to be helped to get better. Y'all need to go, and we need to focus on the ones who actually trying to do this and do it right. So
now, I agree with that. Look, Chris is booking himself. Dude, when I start booking October, I'll definitely get in touch with you, man. If we're not already friends on Facebook, go hit me with a friend request. And once I'm busy through September, but once October hits, I'm going to start booking some new guys, some new guests. I'll definitely book you, dude. No doubt about it. He said he's also the champion of 901 as well, former champions at VCA and former heavyweight champion at TIWF, so I'm quite decorated. Let me ask you something. 901, do you have any idea what their future is since the Black Lodge is shutting down? Are they... I mean, I don't know anything about it other than their venue shutting down. Are they looking for a new venue to... Chris, you're out there. You're also the 901 champion. This might be a question for you, man. Is 901 still going to be a thing?
Yeah, I talked to a couple of guys who deal with 901. From what I heard, it was shocking news to them. It was surprising to me because I heard and I was like, well, like that didn't make sense, because I know if they knew, they would have probably been promoting their last show at Black Lodge and saying, you know, they finna be at this new building, but it was a surprise to them as well. So
also they did mention they were going to be at a new venue.
You said, did they mention it?
Yeah, is that not what you just said? That they?
Oh no, I said I would think they would have been promoting their
okay,
if they knew they was weren't gonna be at Black Lodge no more. I think they would have been promoting like a last show at the Black Lodge, you know,
right.
People, you know, to kind of celebrate them. But for them to go out like that, it was like, oh man, that's not cool, because it's kind of hard to start back up and go to another building. I done did that before. I had to go to another building and get people back,
right,
you know, into it. And they just, yeah, I do want to say this to them. I think I talked to some people who work with them. If they ever, you know, want to do some networking to keep their name in and keep going until they find a place, like Committed to Wrestling is always a spot. So,
yeah, I like 901, man. They're another one. I see similarities between Committed to Wrestling and 901. 901, the first thing I thought, the first time I ever really seen them, their production, man, they really got great production. They've got a loyal fan base right there. And a lot of times, is it a fan base loyal to the venue or is it loyal to the wrestling? I think by now they might have started out as fans loyal to the venue. but now they stick with them. The fans are always into the show. I feel like they could move and probably do all right. I feel like they could move venues, and maybe most of those fans would follow them if they didn't move too far out of Memphis or somewhere.
Right.
But I see a lot of similarities between the two companies, and obviously Chris, he ain't gonna tell us nothing. He gonna no-sell us. He said, "I do, but I guess you'll just have to wait and find out by me." So you gonna hold it until I bring you on in October? They gonna announce it before then. I know they are if there's a new venue. Yeah. Surely.
Well, that's the only champion he is right now. He's the 901's 18-19 champion, but he is not the Committed to Wrestling heavyweight champion.
Man, I don't think you're going to convince him of that. He's holding the gold. Possession's 9/10 of the law, man, and he's got the gold. He says it makes him the champion, dude.
Yeah.
So look, Marco, is there anything, open forum, we got about 10 more minutes before we get out of here. Open forum, is there anything we ain't talked about that you want to talk about?
As far as that, I think I mentioned, like I said, how to take the wrestling business serious, because I be like, just like how you go to a doctor's office. Like when you go to a doctor's office, you want the best qualified doctors to operate on you, and that's how I feel about the wrestling business. Like you should treat it like that, you know.
I agree with that.
Best talent, so people who best qualified for the job, and so people keep that into wrestling and stop just being fans and stop what they quote unquote just being marks and really take this seriously. A lot of these organizations have more respect by their peers, and they probably end up getting more fans if they really take it seriously and actually educate themselves on how to be better instead of already thinking they know everything. Like that's never gonna be good.
And here's the thing, there is a proper way that this shit's supposed to be done in the ring. I'm not talking about angles and creativeness and characters. That's kind of open forum, man. You're the artist. Yeah. The wrestlers are artists, man. It's their job. It's your job to give them an idea, make them see your vision, and it's their job to go out there and paint that picture in the ring. But in the ring, there is a blueprint to pro wrestling and matches. And it's always worked, and it'll always work if it's done right. But if you try to skip, you don't build a house from the top down, you build it from the bottom up. And if you try to skip those most important fundamentals, you will hit a spot where you realize you did yourself a huge disservice in the wrestling business. What do you do when you get in there with somebody who can go and has been at the show, and you realize then after it's too late that, man, I shouldn't even be in the ring with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do. I think it's another thing too I do want to talk about now that you mentioned open forum, since we got a couple of minutes, about and these goes to wrestlers who don't take this seriously. And like I've had wrestlers who wanted to come in to Committed, and you have wrestlers, this is their first time now. This is their first time coming in, and they come late and thinking they should still be booked.
Right. I agree.
And they will come, and some will not show, because we run I run every other month, so you have plenty of time, whatever you gotta do, understand, stuff happen or maybe work or whatever, but you got plenty of time, especially if this is something that you want to do. I give people plenty of time. But if you come late and then message me and be like, well, can't you just, book me ahead of a card, change my card around for you?
My God, I hate that, man. Here's the thing. I don't think these fuckers realize that when you lay a card out, if I lay a card out, my first match is for a reason. My second match is for every single match is a stair step for me to get to my main event. And I can't be switching fucking second match to third match because you want to be late. Exactly. You know what I mean? I don't understand that, and I see that all the time too, dude.
Yeah, because my mindset is, okay, who the fuck are you? You're not my main event. You're not one of the core guys. They haven't even debuted it yet.
Like, it makes you not want to put no effort into them.
Nah.
I mean, you already know in your mind before that happens, you could have plans, ideas for this guy that he don't even realize. But when that happens, man, immediately when you know they're not reliable and can't be depended on, well, why am I want to waste my brain power and my vehicle, my promotion, my exposure trying to get you over for you to just maybe not even show up?
Yeah,
you
that
know,
tells me right there you not committed to this. That's the whole point of the committed. You not committed to this. There's no way. I just look at it like this. Just imagine if Triple H or Tony Khan say, "Oh, come to AEW. Would you show up late there?"
If you do, you're a damn fool.
Idiot.
Right.
But that's how I feel about. That's why I feel about opportunities like this. This is how much I love wrestling. Period. Like for someone to give you the time to be on a wrestling platform, something that you love, and you're gonna tell them you're gonna come late to it or you're not gonna show, but this is supposed to be something that you've been wanting. Nah, it's just you not committed to this. You don't love this like you say you do. So
yeah, if you're not, if it's not important to you, why are you important to me? Exactly. You know what I mean? If you don't care enough to be where you're supposed to be, make the arrangements, show up here on time, then why am I going to waste any of my time? I can find another guy who really wants that spot and's willing to be there for it, be on time. And more than likely, he's going to turn out to be the better guy anyway because he really wants it.
Exactly. That reminds me of this tag team. I had a tag team who completely no-showed a show. Completely no-showed. And we had to change some stuff around. But it was just shocking. But I know definitely both of them kind of looking at it like, dang, they should have not have done that. But like after you do that, it's like you basically said fuck me, so I'm just like fuck you right back. No, I don't got nothing to say. Say to him.
And here's my part. Here's something I think about that. You know, me and you were talking before we went on the air, and I was telling you back when I broke in, there wasn't even there wasn't companies like there are now. I feel like a lot of times it gives talent this safety net where, well, fuck that show. We can always go over here and work. Well, if you want to end up on the bottom feeder show, I mean, be my guest. But if you have a chance to be on one of the better shows and you don't do it for whatever reason, that's on you at the end of the day. You're going to end up, you get out of this what you put into it. Mm-hmm. And so you don't want to put in the effort. You think here's the thing, just because you're working, every wrestling match in every company is not created equal. You just because you're working over here and you're working the same 10-minute match that you would have worked over here, that don't mean this match over here is important as it would have been for you to be over here having this match. Right. That's just the way it is. Companies aren't created equal. Wrestlers aren't created equal. Right. And if you get a good opportunity for a good company who's out there trying, we've already heard it. Chris said, hey, Marco always pays me. That's a big thing in the wrestling business. Yeah. Getting paid. Guys like to be paid. And I understand when you're first starting out, very first breaking into business, you'll wrestle for free. Hell, you'll damn near even pay a promoter to book you just to get to wrestle.
I don't do that no more. No, I'm sorry. You got to have some. I'm sorry. I did that before, but the quality of wrestling, they will kill your show because they're not ready. They got to keep training. And it's other little promotions who will take you because they don't want to pay you. Go there. But committed to wrestling? No, sir. You got to be good. You got to be good to be a committed wrestler. That's just point blank.
Here's the thing. I don't think a lot of guys understand the way everybody talks about wanting to control the boys in the wrestling business. Yeah. Wanting them to be exclusive to them over here and work nowhere else. Well, if you're paying them exclusive money, obviously, if you got them and they're making a living off of you, then yeah, you got the right to say, hey, I don't want you working over there. Right. But if you're not, they got the right to go wherever they want to go whatsoever. And you got to pay the boys. You want to build loyalty with guys. The easiest way as a promoter or a booker to build loyalty with your talent, so you don't have to worry about that, Do what you say. Do what you tell them you're going to do. Pay them what you tell them you're going to pay them, and work them. The key problem is working them. Even at $50 a night, if you was able to work guys 4 or 5 nights a week at $50 a night, ain't much, but it's still $250. That's more than they're going to make working 5 shows anywhere else around here.
Right.
Even Lawler and them, it was from $50 to $100 a night, depending on the show, depending on who you were, and depending on the crowd. I mean, so if you could put guys to work 3, 4, 5 nights a week, even at a minimum of $50, then when somebody else calls and said, I'll book you for one night for $100, them guys, if they got brains, they're going to think, well, look, I could go get this $100 one night, or if I do, it could cost me this $250 a week every week that I'm getting in these 5 matches a week that I'm getting guaranteed. What are guys going to do? Most guys are going to look at the long run and think, well, that 100 ain't worth, that 100 for one night ain't worth the 50 I'm going to make every night over here for however long it lasts, you know. Right. That is right there is the key. You want to, and you don't even have to control wrestlers that way. You don't have to tell them no. Mm-hmm. These guys, if they know you're loyal to them, you pay them and you work them, they will be loyal to you. It's all about the money and it's all about the work. If they're working for free, then why? I mean, they can go anywhere they want. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if they're making regular money from you on a regular basis and getting to work regular and ply their trade and learn their craft, you don't even have to worry about them phone calls of, hey man, I want to go over here and work. They're going to pay me this. They won't even make that call because they know. Even if you say yes, what happens is you say yes, because it happens a lot of times with promoters. Because I see dumbass dudes do this. The guys will ask for that time. They'll be told yes, and then 2 weeks later, they'll be completely off the show that they were working. When the promoter even told them that, yeah, it's cool, go over there, but the promoter in his head's thinking, well, fuck you. If you think that show's more important than my show, when I pay you all the time and work you regular, you go on and do what you do. Let you kind of give them enough rope to hang themselves, and then they're gone.
It shouldn't be like that, but you know, a lot of promoters now, and I hope they get away with it. A lot of promoters now, they look at them, they got this Vince McMahon mentality, and they've been having it for years. Like they want to be the only show in town. And I knew from like years when I first started, like it should not be that way. And I think it's gonna be a shift now because you see what Triple H doing with other organizations. You see what they're doing with TNA. You see what they've been doing with New Japan, other little organizations. They got them on the network, and you see what Tony Khan them doing. So you stuff like that. So you're gonna start seeing shift now. So now that they seeing WWE do it, these big companies do it. Now I think it's gonna finally get on their man. Like, well, since they doing it, well then we need to do it too. You know. So it's sad that they gotta take that, but I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad like with Triple H being a promoter, like he's awesome. So he's really gonna change a lot of stuff with WWE. That's why they so hot right now because you know they invite. They don't seem like the monster company or whatever, like trying to take everybody out like Vince did. They seem like they trying to get everybody involved and trying to connect it because they understand they need territories back again. They need other wrestling organizations to be because it's so many. So they need more because everybody can't go to WWE. Everybody
NXT creates AEW. In NXT, I think they figured out that they need real feeder companies out here where these guys get to develop on their own because you send everybody to NXT, you get cookie cutter wrestlers. Everybody wrestles the same. I will say this, WWE over the last few years have been really doing good about changing the prototypical body style you have to have. You know, for a long time, you had to look like John Cena or something like that to really get looked at. Now we start to see that guys starting to run around with talent in the wrestling business. We start to see some wild-looking guys like Bruiser Brody running around again. And that's part of what makes wrestling good is the unique personalities. If everybody's the same, then, you know, I want to see different people in different situations have different matches because of their characters and personalities. Yes. I don't want to see a show where I got 3 hours of different guys who look the same doing the same shit. You know what I mean?
Just a whole bunch of bodybuilders. Yeah, you gotta have the different body types, different personalities. Like you said, they just was all like the same. Like they had that bad. But I want to see people like Jacob Fatu. I want to see the Kevin Owens, you know, guys that look like that, Sami Zayn's, and
right,
like they look different, like they stand out. Like you said, like Bruiser Brody. Like you go somewhere, you see, like, oh, let's just say, for instance, you see Bruiser Brody, like, oh, I know that guy, he must be Bruiser Brody, or you see Cactus Jack or whatever, like, oh, that's Cactus Jack. Like, I wonder who was Vader. Oh, that's Vader. Who's Yokozuna? That's Yokozuna. You like, right. When you go in there, like you can really tell, like, okay, yeah, that guy's different. So that's what I feel like I bring committed to wrestling. Like, everybody's different. You got some of everything. Like you say, it's a variety. You got to have a variety.
No, I think you're on the right track, dude. I like the product, dude. I watched if I didn't watch all of the Destiny, I watched pretty much most of it. I think I watched it all.
Yeah.
And I was impressed, man. I was. Like I said, there's always little things you could polish here and there, but overall, as a package, I think you guys are on the right track. I think y'all are doing it better than a lot of other companies out there doing it, man.
All we got to do, right now, our focus is getting the people to see it, because once people see us, it'll be undeniable. Like, oh yeah, they'll love it. They will love it. So it's just getting the people, and it's wrestling right now. Like, it's a hard sell because of what we've been giving them in Memphis. It's been trash. So it's like people lost faith up in it. So now, me knowing that it's a hard sell, like, I could literally be putting my money into anything else. Like, literally, right. I could put my money in anything else, honestly. But I'm putting it into this, and I want to bring this. I want to build this because I love this. So, and I don't want to see it die. I want to see it get better, especially here in Memphis. I want to see it get back to where it once was. That's a dream one day, but it can happen if we come together.
Well, it's like the old saying, one apple will spoil the whole bunch. Right. Here's the thing, bad pro wrestling, especially to a casual fan who it's just pro wrestling, it's all the same to them.
Yeah.
A bad show makes every other show look bad, whether they are or not, because it creates that impression. What's bad for wrestling is bad for wrestling as a whole. What's good for wrestling is good for wrestling as a whole. So, I'm with you. I think there needs to be a few promotions that's kind of cleaned up. And look, me and you were talking before we went on, and just in West Tennessee, I told you how many there are within a 50-mile radius.
Yeah.
Hey, Memphis, you got Memphis and the surrounding areas of Mississippi and Arkansas. Man, there's a lot of wrestling companies within probably a 200-mile radius. There's probably, I would say 50 easy, probably, if you really wanted to try to look into every one of these little towns and see who had a wrestling company. In 200 miles a radius around Memphis, I would say there's probably 50 wrestling companies.
Man, but they need to talk. We need to talk to these promoters. We need you may be the middle ground. You might need to get us all together or something. Hey, we need to talk. We need to come up with a big event. Like, Memphis fans, they've been wanting it. Like, oh, come with a big event. Just get together, put some money together. Let's just make this event, do it. But so what they had, I think years ago, they wanted a super clash so bad. Do a super clash. Go for it.
Dude, the only problem with that is, you're talking about TNA and WWE.
Yeah.
You put these promotions together, you end up with too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everybody wants to be the boss. Where TNA even knows when they're dealing with WWE, if they don't want to work and do with what WWE really wants to do, WWE can just cut them loose at any point, and it's not going to affect WWE. That's the biggest issue around our area is, it ain't just our area, it's any small wrestling companies. Mm-hmm. If you're going to work together like that, then you need to get together beforehand, these promoters, these owners, and decide who is the end all. Like, when we put this one show together, we can collaborate, but at the end of the day, there still has to be one guy that gives a yay or a nay to everything, and we all have to figure out. We got to figure it out and agree to it. Man, like you said it earlier, it's like wrestling business is full of sharks, and every shark wants to eat more than the next shark. And when you got that mentality, it's going to be so hard, man. That's been a dream since before I even got into business. All these companies getting together and doing this, and it just never, ever works. Never, man. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see something like that happen, but it's just everybody wants to be the boss. And in the wrestling business, at the end of the day, why did Vince McMahon work and last so long? And why could he do the things he did? Because first of all, he had the money behind him to be able to do all that. And at the end of the day, everybody knew he was the boss at the end. If he liked it, we going to do it. And if he didn't like it, it wasn't going to happen. You know, and that's just the business. Look, Roger's back and he says something coming soon. I know Roger's doing I want to say it's the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance or Tri-State Wrestling, but I know he's been putting these Hall of Fame things out.
Hall of Fame, yeah.
Here's the only issue I see with that. Roger needs to be tethered to a company. You know what I mean?
I talked to Roger with Committed to Wrestling. We've talked.
I think that is the whole key to that. I think if you had a vehicle for this thing and a company tethered to it, I think it would get a lot more traction. I believe that 100%. I believe it'd get a lot more traction. I hope it works out for him. He's putting a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
And I hope everything comes to pass that he wants to. But I do believe if he had a wrestling company, a decent wrestling company around Memphis to work with, and to tether this thing to, it gives it a reason. You know what I mean? It gives it a legitimate reason to be happening. I think that right there might start getting that ball really rolling, man.
Yeah, Roger should try this company. He just came back to last Friday called Committed to Wrestling. Yeah, he should try them guy. You know, ask that guy. If they could do something. Yeah.
Well, look, since we're talking about Committed to Wrestling, we're getting ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Committed to Wrestling. Tell us what y'all got coming up. Tell us how we can get in touch with you. If there's wrestlers out there, if there's fans, tell us where your events are and tell us your YouTube. Let everybody know where they can go see some of this Committed to Wrestling product, man.
All right, so our next event is going to be at 4798 Summer Avenue, and the theme of this event is called No Fear. That's going to actually be our Halloween show. It's going to be October 18th. Tickets are $10. Kids 5 and under absolutely free. Come in your costumes. We're going to have prizes given away, cash prizes given away. We're going to have free candy given away all night long. It's going to be a whole lot of fun that night. And like I said, you can catch us on our YouTube, Committed to Wrestling. You catch us on Facebook, Committed to Wrestling. You can catch us on our X/Twitter, which is Committed CTW. So we're out there. Our Instagram too also is Committed to Wrestling. And yeah. And also, this is big news that we just got recently, September 14th. We're gonna Committed to Wrestling is gonna be actually at the Cooper Young Festival with Johnny Dawson's group with Bluff City and the UWA. They have invited Committed to Wrestling to be a part of that event, so that's gonna be major.
I wasn't going. I heard a little tidbit about that, but I wasn't going to say nothing because I didn't know for sure, and I didn't want to bring something up that might not be cemented in. But I'm glad to hear that, dude. I think that's a good thing. There you go. That's the start of companies working together. UWA right now, I think they got the AWA, Crossroads Wrestling, Bluff City, and American Hostile Championship Wrestling out of Missouri. That's that right there. That's that dream you're talking about. These companies all coming together and work. They are starting to do it in small patches. Only thing, you just got to get more companies involved, good companies. I'm happy to hear that, dude. I'd heard a little bit of snidbit about that, but I didn't know for sure, and I didn't want to say nothing. But I'm glad to hear that, man. Look, Roger says, I wish. Roger, let me tell you something, dude. keep pushing, man. I know it gets, dude, I know it gets frustrating dealing with social media and just dealing with wrestling and wrestlers sometimes.
Yeah.
But just keep pushing. But dude, man, I promise you, I believe if you found a company to align with and tether this thing to, I think by the time 2025 gets here and you want to do this thing, I really think it could be something, man. I do.
Definitely. Like I told Roger, I was like, if he want to get their production, like the WWE Hall of Fame production, he needs to hit us up. If he wants to get their set up and their whole production like quality, we can do that. But yeah. So, but anyway, I want to thank you, man. Thank you for having me,
dude. Let me tell you something. This has been one of my favorite conversations. I promise you, I've enjoyed this. It gets a little monotonous at times, but man, I've really enjoyed this. Roger come back and he says, I'm not going to stop because these guys need it. There you go. There's a lot of guys out there that don't get no recognition. Hey, you want to see something? Here's something to look at. Look at Terry Golden actually finally getting into the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. This is something that probably should have happened years ago. Probably should have happened many years ago, Terry Golden getting in. And I can tell you this, 25 years ago, when KAW was a thing and you had Power Pro and you had MCW, Memphis Championship Wrestling, this is something that never would have happened. So for guys out there that don't believe it can happen, it can. It's just, here's the thing about wrestling. It's about timing too.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling's about timing. No, Marco, one of my favorite interviews, dude. I've been looking forward to this.
Thank
you.
I
said, I'm familiar with Committed to Wrestling to a point, but I'm way more familiar now. Loved conversating with you, man. Definitely have to get you back sometime. Now that we don't got to go through all the how you got into business, next time we can come back and just talk wrestling.
Oh yeah, but thank y'all. Can I do one more time? I gotta thank some people before I forget.
Yes, sir. Sponsors, plug your sponsors, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, first off, I want to thank James Miles, who's been helping me co-on for this. James Miles, Dan the Man, who's been helping us. He done joined the team. Our sponsors, Bet You Don't Know, and Big Dogs, Hot Dogs. Hey, thank y'all for believing and committed to wrestling. Thank you, Buster Unmasked, for believing and committed to wrestling and having me on this show to promote Committed to Wrestling. That's a big thank you. We really appreciate you for this plug.
Dude, I appreciate you coming on and smartening us up to CTW, man. Marco, dude, you have a great night, my friend.
All right, you too, Buster. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, y'all, you seen it right there. That's Committed to Wrestling. You get a chance to go see it, man. Go check this out. Like I said, highly character-driven pro wrestling. Man, good wrestling. These guys, every one of them are characters. Production's good. Atmosphere's good. It's a family atmosphere. Go see Committed to Wrestling any chance you get. Hey, Cooper Young, I think, will be your next time before their October 18th show. Go check out Cooper Young. Committed to Wrestling is going to be represented out there. Go check out the show at Cooper Young and see some of these guys. Look, guys, we're back Monday, 7 p.m. We were supposed to have Lynn Denton, the grappler, this past Monday, but he had some several things he had to do. And we originally rescheduled it for Tuesday, but I had some things come up. So we thought we would just reschedule it for this coming Monday. This coming Monday, 7 p.m. Do not miss it. This is a show that I'm dying to do. I'm ready to pick this guy's brain, a true pro wrestling legend. Guys, until next time, till Monday night, be sure to like this video, share this video, go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe, and y'all take it easy.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no